Hey people, Pranksman here, working on Jeep today, and well, I got a ton of tech tips for you. So let the show begin. Okay, first tech tip of the day. See the paint? Don't paint your stuff. See what the paint does? Paint by nature absorbs water. That's why when you paint something, you need to put a sealer underneath it. Even then, depending on how good the sealer is, determines how bad it'll rust. Somebody just took I'm assuming a rattle can, and just painted this. See how the paint's reacting? It stayed on top, absorbed the water, and rusted underneath. All the paint was mainly on the drum before I started messing with it. It just fell off, and it took a layer of rust with it. Let me show you the paint that fell off. You see on the ground, this is all the paint. That's what's holding it together, the paint. So, best thing to do is don't paint it, leave it bare. That way when the water covers the part, when it dries, it oxidizes the part, but it won't hold. It won't hold the water to where you're taking a whole layer of the metal off. My drums are one layer thinner of metal because of it. Somebody did this, I didn't do this. This is how I got it. Looks nice, you know. I live in a harsh environment where over the winter time they dump that salt on the ground, keep the roads clear, and it just gets in there too. It doesn't help, but the water and the salt gets through the paint and starts rusting apart under the paint. You could just see that it just comes off. The paint didn't do its job. It did not seal it. Most paint is like that unless you're buying some fancy epoxy aircraft paint. This is what's going to happen. So don't paint your junk. Okay, tech tip number 2, mounting surfaces. I see this a lot overlooked. The mounting surfaces for the rim to the drum or rotor, you got to clean that surface off. You don't want the layers of metal flaking off underneath it, because you have a high spot where that is rusting and a low spot. So when you mount the rim onto the drum or the rotor, it's going to be cockeyed. It's not going to be flat up against it. So you got to scrape it. All it takes is a pry bar or a screwdriver and scrape that to bring it even all the way around, even on the inside of the drum. See that? You could see the high and low spots. Now if I put this drum on to where it doesn't match that imprint on the axle, it's over to where this high spot here is on a closed area that's over here on the axle. This is going to be lopsided on the axle, which you mount the tire on there, the tire's going to be lopsided. So make sure your surfaces are clean and flat. Okay, this goes towards pulling the drums off the axles. This isn't about how it rusts onto the axle on the center of the hub. This is about the brake shoes wearing into the drum surface and creating an edge along the drum to where the shoes doesn't want to slide off. Let me show you what I'm talking about. There you go. You can see the wear surface the shoes make. This is the part that actually does the stopping, and you have a little edge here that doesn't get rubbed by the shoes. Now this edge stays high while this wears down, which creates a little ridge. After time, the shoes keep wearing, and eventually the adjusters rust together where they stop adjusting, which creates a little ridge here over time eventually. And when you go and pull a drum off, the shoe hits that ridge and it doesn't want to come off. So to keep this from happening, all you gotta do is grind a little bevel into the drum. There we go. Okay, grind a little bevel into the drum. So when this surface wears down, it's not going to create a little ridge because you got a bevel going down with it. Drum comes right off. To do this, I just took a hand grinder, ground down most of it little by little all the way around, and then to make it uniform, you take the grinder and you make long swipes on there, and it cleans it up, makes it nice and even, makes it look nice. There we go. There's a good picture. Yeah, all the way around. Okay. Okay, before I finish cleaning these drums up, I'm going to give you a little before and after. This will be the before. If you look at this drum, you can see all the scale caused from the paint. That's a layer of steel the paint just took off. Okay, this whole drum was painted. Like I said, the paint, all the paint was still on there before I started pounding on it to get the drum off on the axle. So this will be the before. You can see the surface. I didn't touch the surface yet. And I didn't touch the surface yet. So you can see the imprint. But I did do the bevel on both of them already, so. Okay, quick way to get this rust off, basically scrape it like I said before, but if you come to, you see this? That's the rust scale. That's the layer of metal that's coming off from the rust, and there's rust underneath it. The rust is gluing it together, but you got to get it off. You got to get it down to a flat, to the bare metal. This rust scale is not bare metal. That's a covering, and when it gets wet, it'll just get up under there and keep rusting. So just scraping it, as you see it's not coming off. Just take a hammer, light taps. You don't want to dent it, just just falls right off. Light taps. You're not pounding on it. You don't want to dent the part you're working on. Just light taps. So, and then keep scraping till you get down to the bare metal. And if tapping it with the hammer doesn't get it off, use the edge of what you're scraping it with, or you tape or you tap what you're scraping it with the hammer and force that edge into it. It'll crack it and it'll fall off. I can't show you that because I only have two hands and one's holding the camera. So, but as you can see, there was rust under it, and the hammer got it off. So, okay, I got them both done. They're ready to go back on. Get a look-see over everything. Okay, you can see where the paint actually worked and where the paint failed. All the way around, you'll see. Assuming the guy painted the whole thing, that's just ridiculous. A piece of dirt. You can see all the crap. That's just what stayed on the table. You can see what fell off. So let's take a look on the inside. Get close up. There we go. You can see it's all flat. Rub your finger on there, you don't feel any high spots. So you got a flat mounting surface. And the edge is beveled so it don't hold the brake shoe. I even went as far as getting in this groove here, you got to overlay to keep the water out, or water from splashing in. So you don't want this rusting away and falling off. Drum, you can still use the drum, but this is to keep the dirt and the crap out. So I got in there with the screwdriver, or what the hell did I use? I use this. This is a pry bar I use. I just scraped out that groove, got the scale off so it doesn't hold any moisture. So it'll stay, don't rust and break off. So these drums are ready to go. I think they look pretty good. They should last another 10 years before I have to do this again. And most likely I'll have that Jeep for the whole 10 years. This is something that I know will work because I've always done this, and I've always had the vehicles to where 10 years after I pull the brakes off, you could see that it worked. How I prepped the part before I put it on there, and put it on there, and all the lubricants I put on there to keep the part working. You see firsthand if you're keeping the vehicle for as long as I do. I've had that thing for 17 years. I know what works and what doesn't. So this is the tech I'm passing on to you. Save a few bucks. I probably saved $100 right there. Any mechanic pulled those off, looked at it, and they'd be like, oh, you need new drums, $100. You know what? I could get another 10 years out of these. I can't see them. I was going to show you guys. Maybe I did the drums on this thing. Maybe when I pull this thing apart and pull the tires off, I'll get a quick view of the drums, how good it works. So next step would be to clean the surface that the drums make to, clean the groove out. You don't want to take sandpaper to it, because when you put the drum on there, if you get any play, it'll be off center and it'll wobble. It'll feel like you got a warped drum on there. The pedal will pulsate. So scrape it off and then use anti-seize around this edge. Scrape the surface off, make sure all the goo, you can see all the fucking mud, dirt and that on there. Now I get cleaned up, slap it back together, make sure the adjusters are working. I can pull that adjuster out, make sure it's working. Looks like whoever had it put new hardware in there, so that's a plus. Make sure that adjuster is working, and I'm good to go. Okay, that's pretty much it for this video. If you like it, hey, share the video, get the word out, and subscribe. I'm going to keep these videos, these tech tip videos going. Why? Well, your broke ass got to get to work Monday, and this is going to help. So rate, comment, and subscribe. Pranks, man. Bye.